She ran away on her wedding day. To save her life, the billionaire who caught her said, "Run to me instead," and she did. Jacqueline Scott had gotten used to being alone. At 29, she'd buried both parents, lost her friends to a fiancé who called it protection, and stopped recognizing herself in mirrors. Michael said he loved her. Michael planned everything. Michael made her feel safe. Until tonight, when she found the folder on his laptop. 3 driver's licenses, 3 marriage certificates, 3 death certificates, all women who looked like her, all married to Michael Brennan, all dead. Her wedding was in 6 hours. Her phone buzzed. "Michael, where are you, baby?" She had the dress. She had the venue. She had proof her fiancé had killed 3 wives before her, and she had nowhere to run that his family's money couldn't find her, except maybe to the one man who'd been watching her for months, waiting for her to realize she needed saving. Welcome to Tales from the Shadow Side, where we bring you emotional stories that stay with you. If you're new here, hit subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss a story. And if you're returning, thank you. Your support means everything. Now, stay until the end, drop a comment with your thoughts, and let's begin. Jacqueline locked the bathroom door and pressed her back against it. Her bridesmaids' voices filtered through. Keisha, her maid of honor, was doing drunk karaoke to Mary J. Blige. The suite smelled like champagne, and the gardenias Michael had sent that morning. Beautiful gesture, thoughtful fiancé, serial killer. Her chest wouldn't expand right. She pulled up the files again. Jennifer Morrison, married 2019, dead 2020. Car accident on a mountain road. Rebecca Chen, married 2021, dead 2022. Fell downstairs in their home. Amanda Hayes, married 2023, dead 6 months ago. Sleeping pills and wine, ruled accidental overdose, all brunettes, all brown eyes, all between 27 and 31. All isolated from their families before they died. Jacqueline's mother had died 2 years ago. Her father, 3 years before that. No siblings. Her college friends had drifted away after Michael started planning their lives. He'd suggested Keisha and the other bridesmaids, women from his social circle who barely knew her, women who'd tell him everything. The bathroom mirror showed her face. Concealer covered the bruise on her jaw from where he'd grabbed her yesterday. Playful, he'd called it. She'd laughed too long at the florist's joke. Her phone buzzed again. "Michael, baby, you're scaring me. Call me." Then, "I'm coming to the hotel." Her lungs seized. She couldn't breathe in here, couldn't think. The walls pressed closer and her reflection stared back, already a ghost. Jennifer, Rebecca, Amanda, Jacqueline. She opened the bathroom door. Keisha glanced up from her phone, smiled. "Girl, you okay? You've been in there forever." "I need air." Her voice sounded far away. "Going to walk the grounds. Clear my head before the big day." "Want company?" "No. Too sharp." She softened it. "Just need a minute alone. You know, bride nerves." Keisha laughed. "Michael's got you all twisted up. That man is obsessed with you." Jacqueline's stomach turned. She grabbed her phone and keycard. Left the suite in yoga pants and a hotel robe, bare feet on carpet, then cold tile, then the service elevator she'd noticed during wedding planning. Michael knew the main entrances. He'd stationed his groomsmen in the lobby bar. Watching. Always watching. The service elevator opened to the kitchen. Steam and the clatter of pans, prep cooks shouting in Spanish. No one looked at her. She pushed through a side door and the September night hit her face. Richardson Estate stretched across 40 acres of Virginia countryside. She'd chosen it because it was beautiful. Rolling hills and old oak trees. A mansion converted to a venue. Gardens where she'd planned to say vows to a man who'd probably already picked out her death. Car accident seemed most likely. He'd been teaching her to drive his sports car, taking her on mountain roads, saying she needed practice. Her feet hit gravel and kept moving. She didn't have shoes, didn't have a plan, didn't have anywhere to go that Michael couldn't find her. His family owned half of Richmond. Their lawyer had handled all 3 investigations. Their money bought silence. Helicopter blades cut the air. She looked up. A chopper descended toward the south lawn, lights blazing. Wedding vendors, probably. Michael had spared no expense. Nothing but the best for his bride. His 4th bride. Her feet changed direction without permission. Toward the helicopter. Toward noise and movement and people who weren't Michael's. The white lace of the wedding dress flashed in her mind. She should go back. Put it on. Walk down the aisle. Maybe she was wrong. Maybe there was an explanation. Maybe Jennifer and Rebecca and Amanda had thought the same thing. The helicopter touched down. One man stepped out. Tall, broad-shouldered, salt and pepper hair catching the light. He wore a dark suit despite the hour, moved with the kind of confidence that came from always being the most powerful person in the room. David Richardson, the owner. She'd met him twice during planning. Once for the venue tour, once for the tasting menu. He'd asked quiet questions both times, about her family, her friends, how she'd met Michael. His eyes had lingered on her face like he was memorizing something. Michael had pulled her away both times, called him intense, said billionaires were all weird. David's gaze found her across 50 yards of lawn. He went still. Then he walked toward her with purpose, each step deliberate. His security team stayed by the helicopter. He came alone. Jacqueline's feet rooted to the gravel. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that she could see his eyes were blue-gray, storm-colored, close enough that the expensive scent of his cologne mixed with the night air. Jacqueline, her name and his voice sounded different, careful. What are you doing out here? I needed air. His gaze dropped to her bare feet, back to her face. Something shifted in his expression. Where's your fiancé? At his hotel. We're not supposed to see each other before the wedding. Bad luck. Is that what you believe? The question landed strange. She blinked. What? Do you believe in bad luck, Jacqueline? Or do you believe in patterns? Her heart kicked against her ribs. David stepped closer. His voice dropped. I've been waiting 3 months for you to run. The world tilted. I don't. Her voice cracked. I don't understand. Jennifer Morrison was my college girlfriend. 20 years ago. His jaw tightened. I saw her name in the society pages when she married Michael Brennan. Reached out to congratulate her. She never responded. 6 months later, she was dead. Jacqueline couldn't move. Rebecca Chen worked for my company. Smart, ambitious, kind. She quit after she got engaged. Said her fiancé preferred she didn't work. I offered to help if she ever needed it. She said she was fine. Then she fell down the stairs. Amanda Hayes, Jacqueline whispered. Took spin classes at my gym. I barely knew her, but I knew the pattern. David's hands flexed at his sides like he wanted to reach for her. 3 months ago, I saw Michael Brennan's engagement announcement. Your photo, your smile. I hired investigators that night. Her lungs weren't working right. Everything's circumstantial. His lawyer's too good, his family's too connected. I tried approaching you at the venue tour. He shut it down. I tried again at the tasting. He kept you at arm's length. David's voice went rough. I've had security watching this hotel for 2 weeks, waiting, hoping you'd figure it out before tomorrow. I found files, she heard herself say, on his laptop, tonight. Then you know, he's coming here. To the hotel, he texted. My helicopter's running. David's eyes held hers. You have 30 seconds to decide. Stay and marry him, hope I'm wrong about everything, or run. He'll find me. His family would have to go through me. David's voice cut steel. I have resources, lawyers, security, properties in 12 countries. He's rich, I'm richer, and I've been planning your escape for 3 months. Jacqueline's whole body shook. Why? The word barely made sound. You don't even know me. Something cracked in his expression. I knew Jennifer. I failed her. I'm not failing you. Helicopter blades picked up speed. David extended his hand. 30 seconds. Jacqueline, I can't make you run. But if you want to, run to me. She looked at his hand, looked at the hotel where Michael was probably already in the lobby, charming the desk clerk, getting her room number, looked at the helicopter and the night sky and the future that split into 2 paths. Wife number 4, or something else. Her feet moved. David's hand closed around hers, warm and solid, and then they were running across the lawn. Her robe flew open, hotel slippers lost somewhere in the grass. His security team opened the helicopter door. She climbed in, and David followed, his body blocking hers from view as the door sealed and the helicopter lifted. Through the window, she saw Michael's car screech into the parking lot, saw him jump out, looking up, saw his face when he realized she was gone. The helicopter banked hard, and Richardson Estate disappeared below them. David's voice came through the headset. You're safe now. Jacqueline couldn't answer, could only press her hand against the window and watch Virginia fall away beneath her, every light a possibility, every mile a breath she'd been holding for 9 months. The man beside her had pulled her from a grave she hadn't even known she was standing in. She turned to look at him. David Richardson's jaw was tight, his gaze fixed forward, his hands gripped white-knuckled on his knees, like he was physically restraining himself from reaching for her. Where are we going? She asked. My plane. It's waiting at a private airfield, 20 minutes from here. He finally looked at her. Then anywhere you want. I have a security team coordinating with FBI. They've been building a case but needed proof. You found it. The files. Already sent to my lead investigator? You uploaded them to cloud storage. Smart. She'd done it on instinct. Survival mode. What happens now? David's expression gentled. Now, you breathe. Now you're safe. The rest, we figure out together. Together. The word sat strange in her chest. She'd been alone for so long. Michael had made sure of that. Isolated her slowly, carefully, until his voice was the only one she heard. But David Richardson's voice was different. It sounded like a promise. Quick pause if you're feeling this story. Hit the hype and share the story with someone so others can find it. Comment where you're watching from. Now, back to the story. The private airfield was nothing like commercial airports. No TSA, no crowds, just a sleek jet with Richardson Security Corp painted discreetly near the tail. David's hand stayed at the small of her back as they crossed the tarmac, guiding, not pushing, his security team forming a perimeter. She barely registered. Inside the plane, cream, leather, and polished wood, recessed lighting that didn't hurt her eyes. A flight attendant who took one look at Jacqueline's hotel robe and bare feet and disappeared, returning 30 seconds later with a cashmere blanket and slippers. "Thank you," Jacqueline whispered. The woman squeezed her shoulder. Maternal, knowing, then left them alone. David guided her to a seat, knelt to help with the slippers. His hands were gentle, impersonal, the way you'd handle something breakable. She watched the crown of his head, salt and pepper catching the light, and her brain couldn't process that this stranger was saving her life. "I don't understand why you care," she said. His hands stilled. He looked up from where he knelt. "Because I've spent 20 years wondering if I could have saved Jennifer, if I'd pushed harder." Showed up at her door, refused to take no for an answer. His voice went rough. "I'm not wondering anymore. You didn't even know me. I know men like Michael Brennan." David stood, moved to the seat across from her. "I know how they pick women who are alone, vulnerable. I know how they isolate slowly enough that you don't notice until you're already trapped." Her throat closed. "My investigator flagged your social media 9 months ago, right after the engagement announcement. Started mapping your digital footprint." David's jaw tightened. "Your mother's obituary from 2 years ago, your father's from 3 years before that. No siblings. Your college friends stopped tagging you in posts 6 months into your relationship with Michael. You disappeared, Jacqueline. That's not love. That's strategy." She'd thought it was romance. Michael wanting her all to himself, protecting their relationship from outside noise. He'd said social media was toxic, that real couples didn't need validation from strangers. He'd needed her silent. The plane engines powered up. David's pilot appeared in the cockpit doorway, got a nod, disappeared. They were moving before Jacqueline could process it, runway lights blurring past the window. "Where are we going?" she asked again. "New York. My penthouse in Manhattan. Most secure property I own, 24-hour security, private elevator, bulletproof glass." David's voice was steady, factual. "FBI's coordinating with NYPD. They'll want your statement, but not tonight. Tonight you sleep." "I can't sleep." "Then you sit. You breathe. You exist somewhere Michael can't reach you." The plane lifted, and Virginia disappeared below them, taking Michael and the wedding dress, and the life she'd almost walked into. Her chest cracked open, pressure releasing, and she couldn't tell if she was breathing easier or drowning. David was watching her with that intensity again. "What?" she managed. "You're in shock. It's normal." He unbuckled, moved to the galley, returned with water and a protein bar. "Small bites. Sips. Your body needs fuel even if you can't feel hunger." She took the water. Couldn't make her hands open the protein bar. David opened it for her, broke off a small piece, set it in her palm. "1 bite," he said quietly. "Then we'll talk or not talk. Whatever you need." She bit, chewed mechanically. It tasted like cardboard, but she swallowed, sipped water, and her body remembered it was alive. "Better," David said. "How did you know?" The question escaped before she could stop it. "At the venue tour, the tasting. How did you know something was wrong?" His expression shifted. "The way he touched you, hand at your lower back, guiding every step. The way he answered questions before you could. The way you looked at him before you spoke, like you needed permission." David's voice went soft. "And the way you smiled. It never reached your eyes." Her vision blurred. "I've seen that smile before," he continued. "On Jennifer, on Rebecca when I ran into her at a coffee shop, months before she died. On Amanda at the gym. It's the smile women wear when they're trying to convince themselves they're happy. I thought I was happy. Her voice cracked. He was charming, thoughtful. He brought me gardenias every Friday because I mentioned once that I liked them. He planned this whole wedding, said I was stressed from losing my parents, and he wanted to take care of everything. He wanted control. I know that now. You knew it then. David leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Some part of you knew. That's why you kept the cloud backup of those files instead of deleting them. That's why you ran tonight instead of confronting him. Your instincts were screaming. You just needed proof to trust them. Jacqueline's hands shook around the water bottle. David reached across the space between them, stopped himself. Can I? She didn't know what he was asking until he gestured to her trembling hands. She nodded. His hands covered hers. Warm, steady, grounding, not grabbing, not controlling. Just there. You're safe, he said again. I know you can't feel it yet, but you are. He'll come after me. He'll try. He won't succeed. David's voice hardened. My legal team is already filing for emergency protective orders. My investigators are coordinating with FBI. Michael Brennan's family has money, but they're not untouchable. Not anymore. Why are you doing all this? I told you. Jennifer was 20 years ago. You barely knew Rebecca or Amanda. This is more than guilt. She needed to understand, needed to know if she'd traded one obsessive man for another. What do you want from me? David held her gaze. The plane hit turbulence, and his hands tightened fractionally on hers, stabilizing. I want you to live, he said quietly. That's all. I want you to wake up 5 years from now and realize you're not checking over your shoulder. I want you to laugh without calculating if it's too loud. I want you to exist in the world as yourself, not as someone's possession. He paused. I don't want anything from you, Jacqueline. I want everything for you. Her breath caught. But if you're asking what I feel, his jaw tightened. I've been watching you for 3 months, trying to figure out how to save you without scaring you, lying awake, wondering if I'd miscalculated, if he'd hurt you before I could intervene. And when you ran toward me tonight instead of away, when you trusted me enough to get in that helicopter, he stopped, breathed. I'm not Michael. I won't isolate you or control you or tell you who you are, but I won't lie and say I don't feel something. I do. I have since the venue tour, when you smiled at the oak trees and said they looked like they'd been there forever, like they'd seen everything and survived it. Jacqueline remembered that moment. Michael had rolled his eyes, said she was being dramatic. David had looked at her like she'd said something profound. You don't know me, she whispered. No, but I'd like to. His thumbs brushed the backs of her hands. After you've slept, after you've talked to the FBI, after you've had time to breathe without someone deciding your next move. Then, if you want, I'd like to know you. What if I'm too broken? You're not broken. You're a woman who survived something most people don't recognize as danger until it's too late. David's voice went fierce. You figured it out. You found proof. You ran. That's not broken, Jacqueline. That's strong as hell. The tears came without permission, silent at first, then shaking her whole body. David moved to the seat beside her, pulled her against his chest, and let her soak his $5,000 suit while she cried for the life she'd almost lost and the lives that were already gone. His hand rubbed slow circles on her back. He didn't shush her or tell her it was okay. He just held her steady while she fell apart at 30,000 feet. When she finally surfaced, his shirt was destroyed and her face was swollen. Sorry, she managed. Don't be. He handed her tissues from somewhere. You're entitled to every tear, and then some. Your shirt. I have others. She laughed. It came out wet and broken but real. David's expression gentled. Something warm flickering in his eyes. There it is, he said quietly. What? The smile that reaches your eyes. Her chest cracked open again. Different this time. Not breaking. Expanding. The flight attendant appeared with food. Real food. Not protein bars. Grilled chicken and roasted vegetables and bread that smelled like the bakery near her childhood home. Jacqueline's stomach reminded her she hadn't eaten since breakfast. She ate slowly while David worked on his laptop, giving her space but staying close. The food tasted like the first meal after a long illness, every flavor vivid and overwhelming. Better? David asked without looking up from his screen. Yeah. Good. We'll be landing in 90 minutes. You should try to rest. I can't sleep. Then close your eyes. Practice breathing. She did, not sleeping, just existing in the hum of the engines and the knowledge that every mile took her farther from Michael. The blanket smelled clean, expensive, safe. Sometime later, David's hand touched her shoulder. Jacqueline, We're here. She blinked awake. Manhattan spread below them, lights like a constellation. She'd been asleep after all. David's expression was soft. Welcome to New York. David's penthouse occupied the top 3 floors of a building in Tribeca. Private elevator, biometric security, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson River. Jacqueline stepped into the foyer and her breath caught. Not at the luxury, though it was everywhere. At the space. High ceilings and open floor plans, and room to breathe without bumping into someone's expectations. Guest suites on the 2nd floor, David said, setting down her small bag. His team had grabbed essentials from her hotel room while they were in flight. Masters on 3rd, living areas here, kitchens stocked, security monitors are in the office, panic buttons in every room. Panic buttons. Precaution, you won't need them, his voice softened. But they're there. A woman appeared from the kitchen. Late 50s, warm brown skin, natural hair in silver locks, wearing comfortable clothes, and an expression that had seen everything. She looked at Jacqueline with the kind of recognition that came from surviving something similar. This is Denise, David said. She manages my household. Former FBI. Now runs my personal security coordination. Denise smiled. And I make a mean cup of tea. You look like you could use one. Jacqueline's throat tightened. Thank you. Come on, baby. Let's get you settled. Denise gestured toward the staircase. David, the FBI liaison called. They're scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, not morning. Gave her time to rest. Good. David caught Jacqueline's gaze. I'll be in the office coordinating with the legal team. If you need anything, I'll find you. His expression flickered. Relief, maybe. Like he'd expected her to shut him out. Okay. Denise led her upstairs. The guest suite was bigger than Jacqueline's entire apartment had been before Michael convinced her to move into his place. King bed with hotel-quality linens, sitting area, bathroom with a soaking tub and rainfall shower. Toiletries are stocked, Denise said. Clothes in the closet should fit. David had his assistant grab sizes from your social media photos. If anything's wrong, we'll fix it tomorrow. He thought of everything. He does that. Denise sat on the edge of the bed, patted the space beside her. Sit with me a minute. Jacqueline sat. I'm going to tell you something and you're going to think I'm overstepping, Denise said. But I was married to a man like yours once. Before FBI. Before this. He didn't kill anyone, far as I know, but he came close with me twice before I got smart. Jacqueline's hands twisted in her lap. The thing about men like that, Denise continued, is they make you doubt yourself. Make you think you're crazy for being scared, dramatic for questioning them. You start wondering if you imagined the danger, if maybe you're the problem. I keep thinking I missed something. Like I should have known sooner. Baby, no. They're experts. That's why they get away with it for so long. Denise's voice went firm. You found proof. You ran. That's more than most women manage. You survived. Jennifer didn't. Rebecca didn't. Amanda, but you did. And now you get to live for all of them. Denise squeezed her hand. David's going to help you do that. He's a good man. Intense. Obsessive when he cares about something. But good. He won't push. Won't demand. He'll just be there until you don't need him anymore. What if I need him too much? Then you need him too much. Healing's not pretty or linear or convenient. Denise stood. Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be long. FBI, lawyers, probably some crying, but you'll get through it. She left before Jacqueline could respond. The room was too quiet. Jacqueline showered, standing under water so hot it turned her skin pink, scrubbing until she felt raw. The clothes David's assistant had chosen fit perfectly, soft leggings and an oversized sweater that smelled like lavender detergent. She should sleep. Couldn't. Went downstairs instead. The living room was empty, but light spilled from an office down the hall. She found David at a desk, laptop open, phone pressed to his ear. He looked up when she appeared in the doorway, held up one finger. I don't care about optics, Robert. I care about keeping her alive. David's voice had an edge she hadn't heard before. File the protective order tonight. Use the evidence she provided. If Brennan's lawyer objects, remind him we have the FBI's full cooperation and 3 dead women who fit a pattern. He listened, his jaw tightened. Then we go public. I'll hold a press conference tomorrow. Richardson Security Corp has been investigating Michael Brennan for 3 months. We have evidence suggesting he's responsible for multiple deaths. The media will eat it alive. More listening. I know what I'm risking. Do it anyway. He hung up. Jacqueline stepped into the office. You'd really go public? If it keeps you safe, I'd do a lot more than that. David closed his laptop. Can't sleep? Too much in my head. Yeah, I know that feeling. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. Want to talk or just sit? She sat. The office was warm, masculine, filled with books and framed photos. She recognized some faces. Jennifer Morrison, young and smiling at what looked like a college party. Rebecca Chen in business attire, shaking David's hand at what must have been her hiring day. You kept their photos, she said quietly, as a reminder of what happens when I don't act fast enough. His voice was rough. I won't make that mistake again. Your lawyer thinks going public is a bad idea. Robert thinks a lot of things are bad ideas. That's why I pay him to worry so I don't have to. Jacqueline traced the arm of the chair. Michael's family will destroy you. They have connections. I have more. David leaned back. Money's useful for a lot of things, mostly buying the kind of lawyers and investigators and security teams that make it very, very difficult for rich criminals to stay hidden. You sound like you've done this before. I have. Different circumstances, but similar principle. Richardson Security Corp doesn't just protect people, we expose threats. His expression hardened. Michael Brennan's been getting away with murder because his family's lawyer knows how to make evidence disappear and coroners look the other way. But he's never been on my radar before. He is now. You're not scared? Terrified. But not of him. David's gaze held hers. I'm scared I won't be fast enough, that he'll find a way to get to you before we lock him down. That I'll fail you the way I failed, Jennifer. You didn't fail her. I didn't save her. You were 22. You didn't know. I suspected. I didn't act. His hands flexed on the desk. I'm acting now. The air between them felt charged. Jacqueline stood, moved to the window. Manhattan glittered below, endless and impersonal. She'd lived in Virginia her whole life. Small cities, familiar faces. This place felt like another planet. I don't know how to do this, she said. Do what? Be a person. Without someone telling me who to be. She pressed her palm against the glass. Michael decided everything. What I wore, what I ate, who I talked to. He made it seem like love. Like he cared so much he wanted to handle all the stress. But really he was just erasing me one decision at a time. David moved to stand beside her. Not touching, just present. So start small, he said. What do you want for breakfast tomorrow? The question was so simple it hurt. I don't know. Then we'll figure it out together. You'll look at options, try things, decide what tastes good. His reflection in the window showed his expression. Gentle, patient. Same with everything else. Where you want to go, what you want to do, who you want to be. You get to decide now. What if I decide wrong? Then you decide different next time. That's the thing about autonomy, Jacqueline. You're allowed to change your mind. She'd forgotten that. Forgotten she could want things without justifying them. Could say no without consequences. I want coffee, she said, testing it. Tomorrow, not tea. Coffee, black, with 1 sugar. Done. And I want to cut my hair. Michael liked it long, but I've been wanting it shorter for months. There's a salon 3 blocks from here. Denise can take you whenever you want. And I want, her voice caught, I want to stop being scared. David turned to face her fully. That one takes longer, but we'll get you there. You keep saying we. Is that okay? She looked at him, really looked. Salt and pepper hair, storm-colored eyes, jaw tight with tension he was trying to hide. This man who'd spent 3 months planning her rescue, who'd filed legal motions and coordinated with federal investigators and put his reputation on the line for a woman he barely knew. Why me? She asked again. And don't say Jennifer. There's more to it. David's expression cracked. You want honesty? Please. At the venue tour, you stopped to touch one of the oak trees. Put your whole palm against it like you were feeling for a heartbeat. Michael was talking to the wedding planner, not paying attention. You stood there for 30 seconds, just breathing with this tree, and when you pulled away, you had bark marks on your hand and the first real smile I'd seen on your face. His voice went soft. That's when I knew you were drowning, because you were finding more life in a tree than in your own engagement. Jacqueline's throat closed. I started investigating that night. Found the pattern with Jennifer and Rebecca and Amanda within a week. Spent the next 2.5 months trying to figure out how to reach you without making things worse. And somewhere in all that research, all those surveillance photos, all those reports about how you disappeared from your own life. He stopped, breathed. I stopped wanting to just save you. I started wanting to know you. You don't know me. Not yet. But I know you love oak trees and Mary J. Blige. I know you code switch between your family voice and your professional voice. I know you stress bake when you're anxious because Michael's calendar showed you'd signed up for a baking class every time he traveled for business. I know you used to volunteer at a community center, teaching literacy before he convinced you to stop. David's gaze was steady. I know pieces. I want to know the whole. Her heart hammered against her ribs. That's not normal. No. It's obsessive. It's probably unhealthy. It's definitely too much too fast. His voice roughened. But I've learned that waiting for the right time means watching women die. So I'm not waiting. I'm here. I'm honest. And if that scares you, I'll back off. But I won't lie about what I feel. What do you feel? Like I've been holding my breath for 3 months, and you finally let me exhale. He lifted his hand, hesitated. Can I? She nodded. His palm cupped her cheek. Warm, steady, present. His thumb brushed the corner of her mouth where her smile used to hide. There, he said quietly. That's the one I've been waiting for. What? The smile that's just yours. Not performed, not calculated, just real. Jacqueline's breath shook. The moment stretched, electric and terrifying and impossibly gentle. David's eyes searched hers, asking permission for something she couldn't name. Her hand came up, fingers wrapping around his wrist, feeling his pulse jump under her touch. The office door opened. Denise appeared with a tablet. Sorry to interrupt, but we have a problem. Michael Brennan just posted on social media claiming Jacqueline's been kidnapped. The spell broke. David dropped his hand, turned to Denise. Show me. The tablet showed Michael's Facebook page. A photo of Jacqueline, the one from their engagement shoot, her smile bright and fake. The caption, My fiancée, Jacqueline Scott, has been taken from our wedding venue by David Richardson, owner of Richardson Security Corp. If anyone has information about her whereabouts, please contact police immediately. I just want her home safe. Son of a bitch, David muttered. The post had 300 shares already. Comments poured in. Concern, outrage, people offering prayers and demanding answers. He's controlling the narrative, Jacqueline said. Her voice sounded hollow, making himself the victim. Not for long. David pulled out his phone. Robert, change of plans. We're not waiting until tomorrow. I'm holding a press conference tonight. David, no. Jacqueline started. He met her eyes. He just called you a kidnapping victim. He's setting up a story where you're unstable, confused, brainwashed. By morning, that's the narrative. We need to get ahead of it. What will you say? The truth. That you came to me because you discovered evidence that Michael Brennan may be responsible for the deaths of 3 previous wives. That you're cooperating with federal investigators. That you're here willingly and safely. His jaw set. And that anyone who tries to reach you goes through me first. His family will sue. Let them. I have evidence and 3 bodies. David's voice went hard. He wants to play games? He just picked a fight with someone who doesn't lose. Denise nodded. I'll coordinate with the security team. Lock down the building, sweep for press, prep the conference room. She left. Jacqueline's legs went unsteady. David caught her elbow, guided her to the chair. Breathe, he said. He's making me the villain. He's scared. That post is desperation. He knows you have proof, knows you ran, knows his pattern's about to be exposed. David knelt in front of her. This is him trying to isolate you again, make everyone doubt you, make you doubt yourself. Don't let him. What if people believe him? Some will, but the FBI doesn't investigate based on Facebook posts. They investigate based on evidence, which we have. His hands covered hers. You're not alone in this, Jacqueline. You have me. You have my team. You have federal investigators who've been waiting for someone to come forward. Michael's move just accelerated our timeline. I'm not ready. You don't have to be. I'll do the talking. You just have to be present. Show everyone you're alive, unharmed, and here by choice. His eyes held hers. Can you do that? She thought of Jennifer, Rebecca, Amanda, women who didn't get to tell their stories. Yeah, she whispered. I can do that. David smiled. Not the polite professional smile from the venue tours. A real one, reaching his eyes, warming his whole face. That's my girl, he said quietly. The words landed like a vow. The press conference happened at midnight in the lobby of David's building. Reporters packed the space, cameras everywhere. Questions shouted before David even reached the podium. Jacqueline stood to his left, Denise to his right, flanked by security. She'd changed into clothes that looked professional. Black slacks, cream blouse, hair pulled back. David's assistant had worked fast. Makeup covered the exhaustion, but couldn't hide the truth in her eyes. David's voice cut through the noise. Thank you all for coming on short notice. I'll make a statement, then take limited questions. No, Jacqueline Scott will not be speaking tonight. Cameras clicked like rainfall. Earlier this evening, Michael Brennan posted on social media claiming I kidnapped his fiancée. David's tone was measured, controlled. That's false, Miss. Scott came to me voluntarily after discovering evidence that Mr. Brennan may be connected to the suspicious deaths of 3 previous wives. The room erupted. David waited for silence. Jennifer Morrison, married to Michael Brennan in 2019, died in a car accident in 2020. Rebecca Chen, married in 2021, died after falling downstairs in 2022. Amanda Hayes, married in 2023, died 6 months ago from an apparent overdose. All 3 deaths were ruled accidental. All 3 women were isolated from their families and friends prior to their deaths. All 3 fit a specific physical profile. He paused. Let that sink in. Miss Scott discovered files on Mr. Brennan's personal computer containing driver's licenses, marriage certificates, and death certificates for all 3 women. She uploaded this evidence to secure cloud storage and came to me because Richardson Security Corp has been conducting an independent investigation into Mr. Brennan for the past 3 months. We are now cooperating fully with federal investigators. A reporter shouted, "Why were you investigating him?" Jennifer Morrison was my college girlfriend. When I learned of her death and saw the pattern emerging with subsequent wives, I became concerned. My concerns appear to have been warranted. Is Miss Scott being held against her will? No. Miss Scott is here voluntarily and is free to leave at any time. She has chosen to stay in a secure location while federal authorities build their case, for her safety. What does Mr. Brennan say about these allegations? I don't speak for Mr. Brennan. I imagine his lawyer will have a statement soon. David's expression hardened, but the evidence speaks for itself. 3 dead women, 1 pattern, and a 4th woman who was smart enough and brave enough to run before becoming another statistic. His hand moved almost imperceptibly toward Jacqueline, then stopped. Professional distance, but everyone saw it. Are you in a relationship with Miss Scott? That's irrelevant to the facts of this case. Mr. Brennan claims you've been obsessed with her for months. Mr. Brennan is a liar and possibly a serial killer. I don't put much stock in his claims. David's voice cut steel. Next question. Miss Scott, do you have anything to say? Jacqueline's throat closed. She hadn't planned to speak, but the cameras were on her. The world was watching, and Michael's voice was in her head, saying she was dramatic, paranoid, too emotional. She stepped forward. David's hand touched her elbow, questioning. She nodded. The microphone felt cold against her palm. My name is Jacqueline Scott. I'm 29 years old. I was supposed to marry Michael Brennan this morning. Her voice shook but held. Last night I found evidence that 3 women died after marrying him. I found their driver's licenses hidden on his laptop. I found death certificates. I found a pattern. Cameras flashed, but she kept going. Michael Brennan isolated me from everyone I knew. He convinced me my friends were toxic. He planned every detail of my life. He told me it was love. It wasn't love. It was control. Her hands gripped the podium. When I found those files, I knew I had 2 choices. Marry him and hope I was wrong, or run. I ran. David Richardson gave me somewhere safe to run to. Are you afraid, Mr. Brennan will retaliate? Yes, the word came out steady. But I'm more afraid of what happens if I stay silent. Jennifer Morrison, Rebecca Chen, and Amanda Hayes don't get to tell their stories. I'm telling mine. For them. She stepped back. David's expression was fierce, proud, something deeper she couldn't name. He took over the microphone, fielded more questions, his legal team's talking points delivered with precision. Jacqueline barely heard it over the roaring in her ears. She'd just gone on camera, in front of the world, calling her fiancé a killer. There was no taking it back now. The apartment was silent when they returned an hour later. News outlets were already running the story. Michael Brennan's lawyer had released a statement calling the allegations baseless and defamatory. His family was threatening lawsuits. The internet was divided. Jacqueline sat on the living room couch and stared at nothing. David dismissed the security team, poured 2 glasses of whiskey, sat beside her, not close enough to touch, close enough to be there. You didn't have to speak, he said quietly. Yes, I did. She took the whiskey, sipped, let it burn. He was making me a victim again. Helpless, kidnapped. I needed people to see I chose this. You were incredible. I was terrified. Both things can be true. David's knee bumped hers. Casual contact. Grounding. FBI's pleased. Your statement gives them leverage to fast-track their investigation. They'll want a formal interview tomorrow, but you gave them public momentum. And Michael? His lawyer's scrambling. The social media post makes him look guilty, now that your evidence is public. He played his hand too early. David's expression darkened. He's dangerous when cornered, though. Security's been tripled. You don't go anywhere without a full team. I can't live like this forever. You won't have to. FBI's moving fast. Between your evidence and our investigation, they have enough to bring him in for questioning. Maybe arrest him if they can tie him directly to any of the deaths. Jacqueline set down the whiskey. Her hands were steadier now. What happens to us after this is over? David went still. What do you want to happen? I don't know. I don't know how to want things yet. She turned to face him. But I know I feel safe with you. I know I want to understand why you look at me like I'm not broken. I know, her voice caught. I know I'm not ready for anything real, but I want to be. Someday. Then someday I'll be here. His hand moved to cover hers. No pressure, no timeline. You heal at your own pace. What if my pace is too slow? Impossible. There's no such thing as healing wrong. David's thumb traced circles on her wrist. I've waited 3 months to know you're safe. I can wait longer to know you. The gentleness in his voice cracked something in her chest. Michael never waited for anything, she said. He pushed and pushed until I forgot I could say no. I'm not Michael. I know. But my brain doesn't always know. It keeps waiting for you to show your real face, the one that gets angry when I don't fall in line. That face doesn't exist. David shifted to face her fully. I have edges. I'm controlling about security. I'm obsessive when I care about something. I work too much and I forget to eat and I hold grudges against people who hurt the ones I protect. But I don't get angry at autonomy. I don't punish honesty. And I sure as hell don't hurt women for existing. Jacqueline's eyes burned. I want to believe you. Then believe me. Test me. Push back when something doesn't feel right. Disagree with me. Leave the room when you need space. Watch me handle all of it without consequences. His voice gentled. That's how trust gets built. Through repetition. Through proof. What if I can't trust anyone again? Then you can't. And I'll still be here, waiting for the day you can. Or not waiting. Just existing nearby, available if needed. David's expression was open, honest. There's no version of this where I walk away, Jacqueline. You're stuck with me until you tell me to go. That's obsessive. I warned you I was. She almost smiled. This is crazy. Yeah, completely. He smiled back. But so is finding evidence. Your fiancé's a serial killer on your wedding night and running away with a billionaire. We're past normal here. The laugh escaped before she could stop it. Raw and surprised, and entirely hers. David's whole face transformed. Relief and joy and something tender she couldn't name. There it is again, he said softly. What? The real you. Keep doing that. Her chest felt too full. She was exhausted and wired and scared, and something else she couldn't identify. Safe, maybe. The kind of safe that felt dangerous because losing it would hurt. I should sleep, she managed. You should. Big day tomorrow. FBI, lawyers, probably more press. David stood, offered his hand. Come on, I'll walk you up. She took it. His palm was warm, calloused in unexpected places. Manual labor somewhere in his past, despite the billionaire present. They climbed the stairs in comfortable silence, stopped outside her door. Thank you, she said, for all of this. Don't thank me. I'm being selfish. At her confused look, he continued. You being alive and safe makes me feel like maybe I didn't completely fail, Jennifer. It's self-serving as much as altruistic. It can be both. Yeah, it can. He stepped back, creating space. Sleep well, Jacqueline. Or don't. Either way, you're safe. She watched him walk down the hall toward his own suite. Watched until he disappeared. Then went inside and locked the door and stood in the dark, trying to understand how her life had become this strange new thing. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart seized, but she looked anyway. I know where you are. I know what you did. This isn't over, baby. You're mine. You'll always be mine. Sleeping won't save you. Her hands went cold. She was at David's door before she made the conscious decision to move. Knocked hard. Couldn't stop shaking. He answered in seconds, shirtless, hair disheveled like he'd been trying to sleep. Took one look at her face and pulled her inside. What happened? She showed him the phone. His expression went lethal. When? Just now. He grabbed his own phone, typed, rapid fire. Security teams tracing it. Denise is pulling surveillance. Did you respond? No. Good. Don't delete it either. FBI needs to see it. He set both phones down, turned to her. You're safe. This building is a fortress. He's just trying to scare you. It's working. I know. That's what he wants. Fear makes you question yourself, makes you think maybe you should go back, apologize, smooth things over. David's hands framed her face. Don't. He's losing control and he's desperate. But he can't get to you here. How do you know? Because I've spent 20 years building security systems specifically designed to keep dangerous men away from the people they hurt. This building has biometric locks, facial recognition, armed security on every floor. The elevator won't move without clearance. The windows are bulletproof. He'd need a military operation to get through my defenses. What if he finds another way? Then he goes through me first. And I promise you, Jacqueline, I don't lose fights. I care about winning. His thumbs brushed her cheekbones. Breathe. You're spiraling. She was. Shallow breaths, vision narrowing, Michael's words looping in her head. You're mine. You'll always be mine. I can't. Her voice broke. I can't breathe right. Panic attack. It's okay. You're okay. David guided her to sit on his bed, knelt in front of her. Look at me. Just me. Match my breathing. He breathed slow, exaggerated, in through nose, out through mouth. She tried to follow, failed, tried again. Good. Again. In. He breathed. Out. She matched him. Once, twice, 10 times. Her vision cleared. The walls stopped closing in. Better? He asked. Yeah. Sorry. Don't apologize for trauma responses. They're not voluntary. He sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. You want to talk or just sit? Sit. Okay. They sat in the dark. His bedroom was simpler than she'd expected. Clean lines, minimal furniture, photos of people on the dresser. His parents, she guessed. Siblings, maybe. Evidence of a life outside of money and security systems. I can't go back to that room tonight, she admitted. Then don't. Stay here. I'll take the couch. I don't want to kick you out of your own bed. You're not. I'm offering. David stood. I'll grab blankets. Stay. The word escaped before she could stop it. Please. I don't want to be alone. His expression shifted. Careful. Tender. You sure? No. But I'm asking anyway. Okay. He moved to the other side of the bed, stayed on top of the covers, fully clothed. Is this okay? Yeah. She lay down in her clothes, facing him across the expanse of mattress. The room was dark except for city light through the windows. David's breathing was steady, present, not sleeping but not pushing. Thank you, she whispered. Any time. I mean it. For everything. For seeing me when no one else did. For not giving up. Jacqueline. His voice was rough in the dark. I couldn't give up if I tried. You're not the kind of person someone forgets. Her throat closed. I was invisible for so long. Michael made sure of it. You were never invisible. You were just surrounded by people who refused to look. David shifted slightly closer. I looked, and I saw someone worth saving. Someone worth knowing. Someone worth... He stopped. Worth what? She pressed. Silence stretched. Then, quietly, everything. The word hung between them, heavy and terrifying and impossibly gentle. Jacqueline's heart hammered against her ribs, but her body finally relaxed. Because David Richardson said she was worth everything, and he'd spent 3 months proving it. Sleep came easier than it had in months. Morning came with CNN playing on the television downstairs. Jacqueline woke alone in David's bed, sheets cool where he'd been, voices drifting up from the first floor. She found clothes laid out in the guest suite, fresh coffee waiting in a thermos with a note in David's handwriting. FBI arrives at 2. Lunch at 1. Take your time. She showered, dressed, came downstairs to find David and Denise in the kitchen with a man in a dark suit who radiated federal authority. Miss Scott. He stood, extended a badge. Special Agent Marcus Webb, FBI. I'm leading the investigation into Michael Brennan. Jacqueline's stomach dropped at the name Marcus, but she shook his hand. Just Jacqueline. Jacqueline, I wanted to brief you before the formal interview this afternoon. He gestured to a tablet on the counter. We've arrested Michael Brennan. The world tilted. When? David asked. 4 this morning. Based on the evidence Miss Scott provided and our own investigation, we had enough for a warrant. He's being held without bail pending arraignment. Agent Webb looked at Jacqueline. The threatening text you received last night came from a burner phone, registered to his business. He made a mistake. What happens now? Her voice sounded distant. We build the case, connect him definitively to at least one of the 3 deaths. His lawyer's already trying to suppress evidence, but your testimony and the files you found give us leverage. He paused. I need you to understand something. This is going to be a long process. Months, maybe years. His family will fight. Media will dissect everything. Your life becomes public record. I know. And you're prepared for that. Jacqueline thought of Jennifer Morrison, smiling in that college photo. Rebecca Chen shaking David's hand. Amanda Hayes, whose face she'd only seen in news articles about her tragic overdose. I'm prepared, she said. Agent Webb nodded. Good. We'll need a full statement this afternoon. Every interaction with Brennan, every red flag, everything you remember. It won't be easy. I'll be with her, David said. Actually, you won't. This is witness testimony. Needs to be independent. Agent Webb's expression softened. But you can wait outside the room. After he left, Jacqueline sat at the kitchen island, while Denise made eggs that smelled like her mother's kitchen. The association hurt. She wanted to call her mom, hear her voice, get advice about men and danger, and running away. But her mom was gone and she was alone, and the eggs tasted like grief. She'd be proud of you, Denise said quietly, like she could read minds. You didn't know her. I know mothers. I know black mothers who raise daughters in a world that's not always safe. She'd be proud you trusted your instincts, that you fought back. Jacqueline's vision blurred. David's phone rang. He answered, listened, his expression darkening. When? Pause. How bad? Another pause. Keep me updated. He hung up. What? Jacqueline asked. Michael's lawyer just held a press conference. He's claiming you and I orchestrated this entire thing, that we were having an affair, that you wanted out of the engagement, that I helped you fabricate evidence to frame Michael. David's jaw tightened. He showed photos. What photos? Denise pulled up a news site on her tablet. Paparazzi shots from last night. Jacqueline leaving David's building. David's hand at her back, her face against his chest in the car. The headline, Lovers or Liars? Inside the scandal destroying Michael Brennan. They're making it look like we planned this, Jacqueline said. That's the strategy. Discredit you by making it about us instead of about evidence. David's voice was controlled, but she heard the anger underneath. It's not going to work. The FBI has the files you found. They have independent evidence. But it's going to get ugly. How ugly? Every moment we've spent together will be scrutinized. Every conversation, every touch, every look. They'll find witnesses to say I was obsessed with you. They'll paint me as a jealous rival who manipulated you into believing Michael was dangerous. He met her eyes. They'll make you look like a woman who chose revenge over truth. That's not what happened. I know. But public opinion doesn't care about truth. It cares about story. And their story is more interesting than ours. Jacqueline's chest tightened. Maybe I should leave. What? Leave New York. Go somewhere else. Make it clear we're not together, that this isn't about you and me. It's about Michael and what he did. Her voice gained strength even as her heart cracked. If I stay here, they'll never believe me. They'll think I'm some woman who ran away with her lover and made up lies to cover it. That's exactly what his lawyer wants. You, isolated again, separated from anyone who can protect you. You've done enough. You put your reputation on the line, your company. I can't ask you to lose everything because of me. You didn't ask. I chose. David's voice went fierce. And I'm not letting you walk away because some lawyer knows how to manipulate public opinion. It's not your choice. The words landed hard. David's expression shuttered. You're right, he said quietly. It's not. You get to decide. You always get to decide. He stepped back. But for what it's worth, running won't make this easier. It'll just make you alone. I've been alone before. And how did that work out? No anger in his voice, just honesty. Michael found you when you were alone, isolated you further, made you dependent. You're stronger now because you have people around you. Me, Denise, the FBI, lawyers. You leave, you give up that support system. Or I protect it. Protect you. Jacqueline's voice cracked. You don't deserve to be destroyed because I couldn't see what Michael was until it was almost too late. Stop. David moved closer. Stop making yourself the villain. You survived. You found proof. You ran. Those are victories, not failures. They don't feel like victories. They will. In time. What if there's not enough time? What if his lawyer wins? What if people believe him? What if I testify, and they don't convict him and he... Her breath hitched. What if I did all of this and it doesn't matter? Then it still mattered that you tried. It still mattered that you told Jennifer and Rebecca and Amanda's stories. It still mattered that you fought back. His hands framed her face. You don't get to control outcomes, Jacqueline. None of us do. You only get to control your choices. And you've chosen truth. That's enough. It doesn't feel like enough. I know. She was crying without permission. David pulled her against his chest and let her soak another expensive shirt while the news played in the background. Lawyers spinning narratives, talking heads debating her credibility, the world deciding if she deserved belief. Denise turned off the television. Enough of that, she said firmly. Baby, you need to eat something real. FBI comes at 2. You need strength. Jacqueline pulled back, wiped her face. I'm not hungry. Didn't ask if you were hungry. Asked you to eat. Denise's voice gentled. I know it feels like the world's ending. It's not. It's just loud right now. But you've got people who believe you. Start there. The formal interview happened in a conference room that felt too small and too bright. Agent Webb, another agent named Patricia Chen, a stenographer, and Jacqueline. David waited outside like he'd promised. They asked about everything. How she met Michael. First red flag she ignored. When he started controlling her schedule. When he suggested she quit volunteering. When he grabbed her jaw hard enough to bruise. When she found the laptop. Every detail. Every moment. Every choice. 3 hours of reliving 9 months with a man who'd been planning her death since the day they met. When it was over, Jacqueline walked out on legs that barely held her. David stood from his chair immediately, searched her face. You okay? No. Yeah, that's fair. He didn't touch her in front of the FBI, just walked beside her to the elevator. You did good. Agent Webb said your testimony is solid. It's not enough though, is it? They need physical evidence. Something tying him to one of the deaths. And they probably won't find it, because he's too smart, his family's too connected, and I just spent 3 hours talking about bruises that are already healed, and control that sounds like love if you say it the right way. The elevator doors closed. David pressed the button for the penthouse. You can't think like that, he said. Why not? It's true. She leaned against the wall. His lawyer's already winning. You saw the coverage. Half the internet thinks I'm a liar having an affair. The other half thinks I'm a victim you manipulated. Nobody's talking about Jennifer or Rebecca or Amanda. It's all about us. Give it time. I don't have time. He's out there. His lawyer's spinning, and Her voice broke. I'm so tired, David. I'm tired of being scared. Tired of looking over my shoulder. Tired of waiting for the other shoe to drop. The elevator opened. She walked to the living room, stared out at Manhattan. Somewhere down there, Michael was in a cell. Or maybe already released on some technicality. Maybe already planning what he'd do when he found her. David's phone rang. He answered, listened, went very still. When? His voice was sharp. How? Jacqueline turned. Put extra security on the building. I want eyes on every entrance. No one in or out without biometric clearance. He hung up, met her gaze. Michael Brennan's out on bail. Judge granted it 20 minutes ago. The floor dropped out from under her. How? The word barely made sound. His family posted 10 million. His lawyer argued he's not a flight risk, that the charges are circumstantial. David's expression was granite. He's required to wear an ankle monitor and can't leave the state. But he's out. He'll come here. He'll try. He won't succeed. David was already moving, checking window locks, pulling up security feeds on his tablet. Denise is coordinating with the team. We're going full lockdown. No one gets near you. This isn't sustainable. I can't live in a fortress forever. You won't have to. FBI's working fast. They'll build the case. They'll what? Find a miracle piece of evidence that's been hidden for years? Convince a jury that a rich white man with expensive lawyers killed 3 women despite accidents and overdoses and no witnesses? Jacqueline's voice rose. Face it, David. He's going to win. He always wins. That's why Jennifer and Rebecca and Amanda are dead. Because men like Michael Brennan don't lose. This time he does. You don't know that. I know I won't let him get to you. David set down the tablet. I know I've spent 3 months preparing for every possible scenario. I know my security team is the best in the country. I know. You know you care too much. The words cut out of her. You care so much that you're willing to sacrifice everything. Your reputation, your company, your safety. And for what? A woman you barely know who might not even be worth it. Don't. His voice went hard. Don't do that. Don't make yourself small because you're scared. I'm not making myself small. I'm being realistic. She wrapped her arms around herself. You should walk away. Cut your losses. Tell the FBI you did your part and let them handle it from here. Is that what you want? It's what makes sense. I didn't ask what makes sense. I asked what you want. David crossed to her, each step deliberate. Do you want me to leave, Jacqueline? Actually want it? Because if you do, I will. I'll make sure you're protected, set you up with security, coordinate with the FBI. But I'll go. That's your choice. Just make sure it's yours and not Michael's voice in your head. Her chest cracked open. I don't know what's mine anymore, she whispered. He lived in my head for so long. I don't know where he ends and I begin. Then let me tell you what I see. David's hands settled on her shoulders, gentle, grounding. I see a woman who found evidence, uploaded it to the cloud, and ran to save her own life. I see someone who went on camera in front of the world to tell her truth. I see someone who spent 3 hours with the FBI reliving trauma because it might help put a killer behind bars. That's not Michael's voice, that's yours, and it's strong as hell. I don't feel strong. You don't have to feel it for it to be true. A sob broke out of her. Then another. David pulled her close and she collapsed against him, crying for the women who didn't escape, for the life she almost lost, for the man who made her doubt everything, including her own worth. I'm here, David said into her hair. I'm right here, and I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me to. Don't go. The words came out broken. Please don't go. Then I won't. They stood like that while the sun set over Manhattan, while Michael Brennan walked free somewhere in the city, while the world kept spinning despite the fact that hers had shattered. But David's arms were steady, and for the first time in 9 months, Jacqueline let herself believe that steady was enough. 3 weeks passed in a strange, suspended reality. Jacqueline lived in David's penthouse while FBI agents built their case piece by methodical piece. She cut her hair like she'd wanted, shoulder length now, lighter. Started cooking again, teaching Denise her mother's recipes for fried chicken and peach cobbler. Small acts of reclamation. David worked from home, his office door always open, present but not hovering, letting her breathe while staying close enough to catch her if she fell. The media circus intensified. Michael's lawyer appeared on morning shows, painting Jacqueline as an opportunist and David as her manipulator. But then things shifted. Agent Webb found Rebecca Chen's diary, hidden in her mother's attic, pages documenting Michael's escalating control, his threats, his violence. Notes about prenups that would leave her with nothing if she left. Fear written in careful handwriting that got messier as the entries progressed. The final entry, dated 2 days before she died. If something happens to me, it wasn't an accident. M said, if I leave in a body bag. I'm scared. I don't know how to get out. The FBI released portions to the press. Public opinion started turning. Then Jennifer Morrison's college roommate came forward. She'd witnessed Michael's obsessive behavior back then, how he'd isolated Jennifer, controlled her schedule, showed up at her dorm uninvited. She'd tried reporting it to campus security. No one listened. Amanda Hayes' sister gave an interview. Talked about how Amanda had tried to leave Michael 3 months before her death, how she'd called crying, saying she was trapped, how she'd died a week after transferring money from her personal account to a secret savings fund. 3 women, 3 patterns, 3 attempts to escape. The story stopped being about Jacqueline and David, started being about Michael Brennan and the system that let him kill 3 times before anyone paid attention. Jacqueline stood in David's office on a Tuesday afternoon when Agent Webb called. We have enough, he said. Grand jury indicted him this morning. 3 counts murder, 1 count attempted murder. Judge revoked bail. He's in custody. Her knees gave out. David caught her. Phone pressed between them so they both heard Agent Webb continue. Trial set for 6 months from now. It's going to be a fight. His family hired the best defense team money can buy. But between Rebecca's diary, the witness testimonies, the pattern evidence, and your files, he paused. We're going to win this. You sound certain, Jacqueline managed. I am. Because this time we have a victim who survived to testify. You changed everything, Jacqueline. Jennifer and Rebecca and Amanda couldn't speak. You can. That's the difference. After he hung up, Jacqueline sat on the floor of David's office and cried, not from fear this time, from relief so overwhelming it felt like drowning in reverse. David sat beside her, back against his desk, shoulder pressed to hers. You did it, he said quietly. We did it. No, you did. I just gave you somewhere safe to land. His hand found hers, fingers threading together. You saved yourself. Then you saved 3 other women's memories. That's all you. She turned to look at him, salt and pepper hair catching the afternoon light, storm-colored eyes soft with something she was finally ready to name. "I couldn't have done it alone," she said. "Maybe not, but you were strong enough to ask for help. That counts. When did you become such an optimist?" "About 3 weeks ago, when you started laughing at Denise's terrible jokes and cooking food that smells like home and existing in the world like you deserve to take up space." His thumb brushed her knuckles. "Watching you come back to life is the best thing I've ever witnessed." Her breath caught. "David, you don't have to say anything. I'm not asking for anything." His voice was careful. "I just want you to know what I see, in case you're still not sure." "What do you see?" "A woman who's figuring out who she is without someone telling her, who cuts her hair because she wants to, who says no without apologizing, who takes up space in my home like she belongs here." He paused. "Who looks at me sometimes like maybe, eventually when she's ready, there could be something." Jacqueline's heart hammered. "I'm not ready. I know. I don't know when I will be. That's okay too. But I want to be. Someday. With you." The words felt dangerous and true. "Is that enough?" David's expression cracked open. "That's everything." He didn't kiss her, didn't push, just held her hand and let the moment exist, fragile and honest and entirely theirs. The trial happened 6 months later in a Richmond courthouse packed with media and family members of all 3 women. Jacqueline sat in the witness box for 2 days, answering questions from prosecutors and defense attorneys, reliving every moment of her 9 months with Michael Brennan. His lawyer tried to discredit her, showed photos of her with David, implied she'd fabricated everything for money and revenge, suggested she was mentally unstable, bitter about a failed relationship, vindictive. But then the prosecutor showed Rebecca Chen's diary entries, played recorded voicemails from Amanda Hayes to her sister, voice shaking with fear, called Jennifer Morrison's roommate to testify about Michael's stalking behavior in college, called a medical examiner who'd reviewed all 3 deaths and testified that while individually they looked accidental, together they showed a pattern, impact injuries consistent with being pushed, drug levels suggesting forced ingestion, circumstances that pointed to murder disguised as misfortune. The jury deliberated for 4 hours, guilty on all counts. Michael Brennan's face, when the verdict was read, showed nothing. No emotion, no reaction, just empty eyes that had looked at 4 women and seen possessions instead of people. The judge sentenced him to life without parole. Jennifer Morrison's mother cried in the gallery. Rebecca Chen's father held his wife while she sobbed. Amanda Hayes' sister locked eyes with Jacqueline across the courtroom and mouthed, "Thank you." Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Jacqueline stood at a microphone with Agent Webb beside her, David watching from nearby. "I want to say something about the women we lost," she said. Her voice didn't shake anymore. Jennifer Morrison was 26 when she died. She loved painting and wanted to open her own gallery. Rebecca Chen was 29. She worked in tech and mentored young women in STEM. Amanda Hayes was 31. She volunteered at animal shelters and dreamed of becoming a veterinarian. Her throat tightened, but she pushed through. They weren't just victims. They were whole people with dreams and futures and people who loved them. Michael Brennan took that away, but he didn't take their stories. We remember them, we say their names, and we make sure what happened to them never happens again. Cameras flashed, but she kept going. To any woman watching who feels trapped, who knows something's wrong but can't name it, who's being isolated and controlled and told it's love. She looked directly at the camera. It's not love. Love doesn't make you small. Love doesn't erase you. And there are people who will help you escape. You just have to be brave enough to run. She stepped back. David was there, hand at her elbow, guiding her through the crowd to the car. But this time the touch felt different. Not protective, supportive. The kind of touch that said, "I'm here" instead of "I've got you," because she had herself now. 1 year later, Jacqueline stood in the kitchen of the brownstone she'd bought in Brooklyn. Not David's penthouse. Her own place, purchased with inheritance money from her parents and a consulting job at Richardson Security Corp, helping design protocols for recognizing domestic violence patterns in corporate settings. She was hosting Thanksgiving. Denise arrived first with sweet potato pie and commentary about traffic. Agent Webb and his wife came next, bringing wine and stories about their new baby. Rebecca Chen's mother sent flowers and a card that made Jacqueline cry. Jennifer Morrison's father called to say he couldn't make it but wanted her to know she'd given his family closure. David arrived last, arms full of groceries she'd asked him to bring, salt and pepper hair a little longer now, storm-colored eyes finding hers across the room. "Hey," he said. "Hey yourself." She took the bags, set them on the counter. You brought the good wine. Only the best for the woman who changed my entire company's mission statement. She'd done that. Convinced David to pivot Richardson Security Corp to focus on domestic violence prevention, threat assessment for at-risk women, training for law enforcement on recognizing patterns. They'd saved 4 women in the past year. 4 women who got to live instead of becoming statistics. It was the right move, she said. I know. You're always right. He moved closer, casual and familiar now, after months of slowly building something real. How are you feeling about today? Good, nervous, ready. She'd invited Amanda Hayes' sister too, and Jennifer's college roommate, a Thanksgiving for survivors and allies, for people who understood what it meant to escape and rebuild. Thank you for coming. Like I'd be anywhere else. They'd been dating for 3 months. Real dating. The kind where they argued about movies and learned each other's coffee orders and navigated boundaries and healing together. It was messy and imperfect, and nothing like the fantasy romance Michael had performed. It was real, and real was so much better. I have something to tell you, she said. His expression shifted. Concerned? Good or bad? Good, I think. She took a breath. I'm testifying before Congress next month about patterns in domestic violence cases, how the system fails women, what needs to change. They want me to tell my story. And Jennifer's and Rebecca's and Amanda's. David's whole face transformed. That's incredible. It's terrifying. Both things can be true. He stepped closer, hands settling on her waist. Familiar now, this touch. Safe. You're going to change lives, Jacqueline. You already have. I couldn't have done it without you. Yes, you could have. You just didn't have to. His voice went soft. That's the difference. You're not dependent. You're choosing. Every day you choose to let me be part of your life. That's a gift, not an obligation. Her chest went warm. I love you, she said, first time saying it out loud, testing how it felt. It felt right. David's expression cracked. Yeah? Yeah. I've known for a while, but I needed to be sure it was real, that it wasn't trauma bonding or gratitude or fear of being alone. It's not. It's just, she searched for words. You see me, the real me. And you stayed anyway. Jacqueline. He cupped her face like he had that first night in his office, like he'd done a dozen times since. I'm not staying anyway. I'm staying because you're brilliant and brave and you make me want to be better, because watching you rebuild yourself has been the honor of my life, because I love you too. Have, for a long time. She kissed him then, slow and sure and entirely her choice. He kissed back like she was precious, like she was chosen, like she was exactly enough. When they broke apart, Denise was in the doorway with her hands on her hips and a knowing smile. About damn time, she said. Now stop making out in the kitchen and help me with this turkey. We have people to feed. Jacqueline laughed. David pulled back but kept her hand, and together they moved through the brownstone, preparing food for a Thanksgiving full of people who'd survived darkness and chosen to live in the light. Later, when everyone sat around the table sharing what they were grateful for, Jacqueline said the truth. I'm grateful for second chances. For the women who didn't get them but whose stories helped save mine. For the people at this table who proved I didn't have to do this alone. And for figuring out that surviving isn't the same as living, but sometimes surviving is how you learn to live. David's hand squeezed hers under the table. Across from them, Amanda Hayes' sister raised her glass. To the women who survive, and the ones who help us remember how. Everyone drank, and Jacqueline Scott, 29 turning 30, felt for the first time in years like she was exactly where she belonged, not because a man chose her, because she chose herself, and then chose to let good people in. The private jet landed in Virginia on a September afternoon. Jacqueline stepped onto the tarmac at Richardson Estate, now converted into a non-profit center for domestic violence survivors. The venue where she'd almost married a killer had become a safe house where women learned to rebuild their lives. David followed her down the stairs, carrying their daughter. 8 months old, brown skin and storm-colored eyes, named Jennifer Rebecca Amanda Scott Richardson, because some names deserve to be carried forward with love. She's getting heavy, he said, passing the baby to Jacqueline. She's perfect. Jacqueline kissed her daughter's forehead, breathed in baby shampoo and possibility. Denise waited by the building entrance with a group of women in various stages of healing. Some had been there a week, some 6 months, all of them learning what it meant to exist without fear. Ready? David asked. Yeah. Jacqueline adjusted the baby on her hip. Let's tell them how we survived. They walked into the center together, not as savior and saved, but as partners who'd learned that love was a choice you made every day, that healing wasn't linear, that surviving was brave, and that sometimes, when you ran toward the right person, you found yourself. What would you rate this story? Drop 0 to 10 inches the comments right now. If this story moved you, hit subscribe for more emotional journeys every day. And if it truly touched your heart, hit that super thanks button. Your support helps us create more stories like this. Every contribution, big or small, means the world. Ready for the next story? It's even more dramatic than this one. Click now. Thank you for being part of this journey.